It's December 22nd, 2024. Welcome. We're in Studio 7A today. 29 minutes of this time we have with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr.
Very good, very good.
You're looking well.
Thank you, thank you.
Nice clothes, new haircut, shaved, nails done. You're doing just fine. How are you feeling today, Mr.
I feel good, I feel good.
Okay.
Considering I'm 99 years old.
Yes, Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. An interesting fact, we've been reading his book now, I think, for maybe 2 years. And I think there's approximately a 419 podcast. And the interesting thing about his book is this. Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, correct?
Yeah, 10/17/25.
10/17/25, right in the Depression. And Mr. Jeckovich and his whole family sacrificed a lot, but you didn't even know you were poor, did you?
No, no.
You think life was wonderful?
No, right. We didn't think we were in depression, no.
Yeah. And so Mr. Jeckovich grew up and lived during the Depression. There was no television invented yet. There was no cell phones, and there's certainly no laptops.
They have radio.
Yeah, they sat around as a family.
Little brown radio, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like to me, of all my readings I've done in your book, that you're much happier than the people are today.
Oh, yeah.
They have all the conveniences today, and they don't seem happy, but your
No,
generation...
they're spoiled now, they're spoiled.
Yeah, and what was your mode of transportation to school?
Bicycle,
And what else?
your feet, your hand.
How do you think a youngster today would adjust to that?
No, they gotta have a car.
Yeah, but he's a product of, Mr. Jeckovich is a product of the Depression, no cell phones, no televisions. They scrimped to get by, and they were happy. They never even thought they were
Never hungry, never hungry.
never hungry. Wasn't it? And during this time, keep how far back Mr. Jeckovich goes, the bakery would deliver their products by horse and buggy.
Yeah.
The milk.
Lang's Bakery.
Yeah. The
Lang's
milk.
Bakery, yeah.
Horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Correct? The milk, horse, and buggy. So it was much simpler times, and everyone seemed much happier. Now everyone has these devices that are supposed to give you conveniences like laptops and cell phones and
Computers.
what's that?
Computers.
Computers, yeah. And that's supposed to make your life a lot more convenient, but it really doesn't. Your life is not much more convenient. They had much more freedom 100 years ago than actually they do now. So it's an interesting point I wanted to make, and here's a product of it. You were very happy growing up back then.
Yeah.
Without the gadgets today.
Yeah. We're a happy life, happy family.
Yeah. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, be kind to strangers, you'll never know when you're entertaining angels. He's thought that way all his life. And we're on chapter 22 of his book, and it's titled Wedding Jitters in a New Life. What's your dog tag number?
42965.
What a sharp memory. The reason why I ask is that's the code to open up the computer to get into his book. So here we go. We're on page 691. Mr. Jeckovich's book is approximately 900 pages. How many pages is it actually?
849.
849. Did that take you many years to write?
No, a couple of months, yeah.
That's amazing. Did you ever have days where you're staring at blank pages?
Do I say again?
Did you ever have days where you're staring at blank pages and you couldn't think of something?
No. I got the euphoric when I wrote. I was wondering what was going to happen next.
Yeah, it was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I heard you're getting started on your second book. You're getting started somewhat on your second book. That's very interesting. And many times we go through text messages, and I give them Mr. Jeckovich's, and he gives me the answers, and sometimes there's a lot of repetition, we just don't go over it. But once again, where could they buy your book at?
Where did I write a book?
Where could they buy your book
You
at?
can't.
You can't. His book is not about money, it's just about sharing his life with people, just to see what it was like back then, and what the World War II was like back then. What it was like, what World War II was back then. That's a big thing. Many people don't understand, if these guys didn't liberate the world during World War II, these guys didn't liberate the world in World War II, you might be under control of communism, and every aspect of your life would be controlled. There'd be no capitalism as we enjoy today. You'd be censored on everything you say. And you'd probably be speaking German. So these guys gave it their all, right down to the bitter end. And the last battle Mr. Jeckovich was in was the Battle of the Bulge. And that was the worst winter Germany ever had in 100 years. It was cold, 3 and 4 feet of snow. Try to walk in 3 or 4 feet of snow when you have people shooting at you. Not fun. The Battle of Bulge was pretty much the end of it for Hitler. That was his scorched earth theory. He was trying to kill every American and destroy anything, any asset that they had in Berlin. Any food, any equipment, any gas. He wanted to destroy everything so the Americans didn't get their hands on it. And if you can picture, they had 3 feet of snow back then. Snow's beautifully white, but not during the Battle of Bulge. It was stained red everywhere on both sides, Nazis and Americans. And the Battle of the Bulge was one of the bloodiest wars, and the Americans unfortunately got caught off guard. Most of the American generals thought the war was winding down and there was no threat. Some of the generals were out golfing, other generals were going to weddings, other generals would be going to fancy dinners with diplomats. There was only one general that didn't think that way. Who was that?
Patton, General Patton, yeah.
General Patton thought something was up. General Patton had an idea that this is not going to end this easily, and it didn't. So now we're at the Ardennes Forest, where a lot of American soldiers, approximately 100,000 of them, are really worn out with battle fatigue. They went there to kind of do some type of relaxation. There's 100,000 of them. But little do they know, Hitler sent 600,000, the end of it, 600,000 Nazis just to destroy the 100,000 that were there basically trying to get some rest. And many of those guys were slaughtered. And the Americans had a very difficult time in defending themselves because of the snow, the fog. They couldn't send in their airplanes.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days later, it cleared up, and then the tide started to turn. And so being it's December 22nd, this is the sixth day, 80 years ago, of the Battle of Bulge. You remember that?
Yeah.
All those years you were in the service, it was all wartime. Do you remember any type of Christmas you had?
I remember the Christmases, but they weren't happy, but they were homely. They were homely, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Battle of the Bulge? You were there during Christmas time.
Yeah.
What was it? Where were you at?
I was in Luxembourg, Belgium.
Yeah, you were on the front line. There was no celebration that time. There was no celebration for that time.
I wonder if there was any fighting that day.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hitler's not going to slow anything down.
They brought us
on Christmas Day, of course.
Yeah, they brought us a turkey down for Christmas. Yeah.
So there's a great contrast to how beautiful we have it now, because people like this, saved the world, saved the country, and that's a fact. And it comes back to me where a young boy, I should say a young man, just out of the clear blue sky about a month or two ago, we got a 25 or 30 minute video from a nice fella standing behind the Eiffel Tower in Paris, And he just thanked Mr. Jeckovich in many ways, and he basically said if it wasn't for you, Mr. Jeckovich, and all your military
20 minutes.
combat veterans, we wouldn't be here in France today.
No.
We wouldn't. It was so nice that it just came unsolicited, and that's you can see that under one of our podcasts, the Bulge Busters. He's a very nice gentleman, and very appreciative of what the Army did, the United States Army did. Without the United States Army, that war never would have been won.
No.
Never.
The Army had the equipment, had the men.
Never would have been won. Never would have been won. So there's only approximately 6,000 combat veterans left in World War II. And the ones left are in the late 90s and early hundreds. And we're losing them at a rate of 150 a day, so do the math. It's a fact, and that's just what it is. We accept that. But if you have any questions for Mr. Jeckovich, please text him at 407-366-0000. 407-366-0000. And getting back to the initial question, Mr. Jeckovich's book is not for sale, nor never will be for sale. It's a labor of love, showing youngsters of today what it was like then and also during the war. But there is the original copy in the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And we're in the process of working on a booth, an AI booth, which you'd see a picture similar to what Mr. Jeckovich is sitting here today. So 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, you could ask Mr. Jeckovich and AI would be answering your question in the same mannerisms, voice, and actions. So that's being worked on now. But right now, you got the real deal where there's no mistakes. So just text Mr. Jeckovich any questions at 407-366-0000. And Mr. Jeckovich appreciates all listeners. We always have great reviews. And he looks forward to this podcast every day. We read for at least a half an hour to an hour. And it's like a nice job for Mr. Jeckovich. It gives him a great purpose. He's always dressed up so nice and sharp looking. And it's a beautiful job, and we're going to keep this going on. We're in this to the end of the road. So, hey, soon when the book ends, we're on page 691, we'll do some more things. We'll do some more interviews. We still have less than 200 pages of the books, but we'll do some more things. Who knows? We haven't figured it out yet, but we will. So Mr. Jeckovich will be in the studio every day to the end of time. And don't you enjoy the podcast, Mr. Jeckovich? Yeah. So that's a great thing. I see there's a package here. A package came in for you this morning. Let me see what it says. A package came in from Mr. John J. Jeckovich from Maria Antononi. Maria Antononi from the Bronx in New York. You know a Maria Antononi?
No.
Let's see what she says. Let's see what Maria Antononi says. I listen to your podcast almost every night. Thank you, Mr. Jeckovich, for your service. My uncle was in World War II in the Pacific.
Oh.
In the Pacific. And he's long gone now, but we have a gift for you. I don't know what the gift is, but when one of the staff gets back, we'll present it. It's like the craziest thing in the world. We have 6 people working for us, and they all take a coffee break at the same time. I guess that's just the way it is, but they're nice people, so we'll let it be at that. So in the meantime, if someone shows up from a coffee break, we'll pick up on page 691, Wedding Jitters and a New Life. The snow was almost gone except for little furrows of snow along the sides of the road. The snow had become dirty, hardened, and crusted over. It was almost balmy outside, and I was hoping that the weather would hold out for the next 2 weeks, at least until we got the wedding behind us. I had talked to Delphine last night, and she expressed the same sentiments. It was more of a wish or hope than an observation. She would be on pins and needles until the wedding was completed, but all in all, I thought she was holding up quite well. It would be several more days, until I would be rid of the midnight shift for a while. You didn't like that midnight shift.
Yeah.
35 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking forward to seeing Delphine again, as it was a long interval since our last meeting. We planned a meeting on the first day off, which would be Tuesday, and as usual, I'd meet her at work. Where did she work?
With WWII grants.
Where would you meet her, up front?
No, 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 in the back room.
Okay. I meet her at work. It was always something to look forward to. It was always,
Hey, oh,
it was, okay, what do we got? We got someone back. Okay, let's talk. Okay, Mr. Jeckovich, this is from Maria Antononi from the Bronx, New York. Her uncle was in World War II in the Pacific. What do we got there?
oh, that wristwatch, yeah.
No, it's
What is it?
That
It's
wristwatch.
a really beautiful Christmas gift.
a nice little watch.
Oh, yeah.
From there.
Take it, Mr. Jeckovich, put it in your hand.
Hold it for everybody.
What is it, like a pocket watch?
Yeah, you can pin it on your clothes or on your wheelchair.
It's got a clip on it, yeah.
Pull it out, you can pull it.
Huh?
Just pull it.
Okay, I like that, yeah. It's kind of like a pocket, it's kind of like a pocket watch.
Yeah.
We'll figure out where we're gonna put that. That's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
make sure you get a nice
Thank you
letter out to
very
her.
much, Miss.
Here you go, here before I drop it.
Tony.
Okay,
Thank
I never seen anything like that, no.
that's neat.
Now, what's the other one?
It's just another one that it came in a 2-pack. It's a
Okay.
white one. Which one do you like better, the white or the black? Which
I like the black better, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Send her a thank you note.
I will.
And see, I firmly believe there's more good people in this world than bad, and here's a classic example. Just out of the clear blue sky, she sent in a nice gift. We give gifts every day, and many times we don't have time to show them, but we all send out a very appreciative note, and Mr. Jeckovich sure does enjoy opening them. Well, thank you very much, and we'll keep on reading. I want to put this chapter 22 behind us today if possible, but you never know. I was spending more time upstairs getting familiar with the apartment, even moving some of my clothes up into 2 small closets in the bedrooms. In the interim, I was developing some ideas how to improve and make it more convenient for us while we occupy the apartment. This would be the beginning of a long history of improvements and retrofitting the various aspects of this apartment. It would last through the birth of our 4 children and culminate finally in the mother's demise some 5 decades later. Mother would come upstairs and keep me company for a while until her favorite TV program would come on. What was your favorite TV program?
Oh, I Love Lucy.
And As the World Turns,
Yeah.
and then Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, Lawrence Welk, yeah.
Yeah. And she had a special spot to sit?
Yeah.
She had a special spot to sit at her house?
All right.
Your mother had a special place to sit?
She sit in the corner
Yeah.
in the living room, on the
lazy boy.
on a flexible chair, yeah.
Mother would come upstairs and keep me company for a while until her favorite TV program would come on. She would reminisce about the events long past when we first moved into the house. Wasn't it just a complete joy when you first moved into the house? You had a bathtub and a shower?
Oh, yeah.
Before that, how did you shower?
I went to the Ike Park pool and showered there.
And how long of a walk was that?
Well, I drove there.
Okay. So you didn't shower because you didn't have the facilities on 13th?
No.
Yeah.
Then I put a shower down in the basement, yeah.
Okay. I would bring up some small event I recalled, and we would both discuss it in retrospect and give our own personal sense of it. I was beginning to see Mother in a new light. I thought at the same time becoming more tolerant of her. She was confining me more, as if she had determined that I was truly her friend and not an adversary. at cross purposes with desires and wishes. Perhaps things have changed for the better. Maybe there was a possibility that Delphine and I could start a nucleus of a family here, and Mother could participate in a meaningful way.
That actually happened.
That actually happened, yeah. That actually happened. Yeah, and Delphine was friends with Mother for 5
Yeah,
years.
Delphine was the centerhead, yeah.
Yeah. I did not anticipate Sally or Lookie staying around the house for long after they both left. Mother would only have us to rely on. Thinking along these lines, I was grateful that we had made a decision to include Mother in our lives. So it all turned out proper, turned out well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have not been possible without the aid of Delphine and her courageous spirit. I was blessed with her presence, and I thank the powers that be for delivering her to me. I met Delphine after she got out of work that night and suggested we go to the Red Devil. What was the Red Devil?
That was a nice restaurant.
A place you went regularly?
Yeah.
Okay, we go to the Red Devil for a spaghetti dinner. Was it good spaghetti?
Yeah, spaghetti, yeah.
And I'd gotten up at 3 p.m. just in time to pick up Mother from work and had not eaten anything. She remarked that she was hungry also, and she skipped lunch that day. When I asked her why she missed lunch, she only related that she was rather be busy during that period and would tell me about it at a later time. What did your mother do? Where did she work?
She worked at Carolina.
And
she worked for Dr. Wright's as a cook and everything.
And what did she do at Carborundum?
Now she's a small wheels inspector.
That must have been really hard on her eyes.
Yeah.
And then she work at Carborundum, which is noted for sandpaper production. Did she work at Carborundum long past her retirement?
Oh, no, they tried to kick her out.
Why did you?
The older woman said, look, you take her food out of my family because you won't give up.
She won't give up. So how'd she finally leave Carborundum?
Huh?
How'd she finally leave Carborundum?
Well, yeah, after she stayed a year later, just to spite them.
Did she leave with a nice pension?
Huh?
Did she leave with a
No, she didn't get a pension. No pension, no.
Okay. After dinner, we window shopped along Main Street for a while, as it was fairly mild outside and all the snow was gone. After getting back in the car, we sat there for a moment, deciding what to do next. We both wanted to drive to our apartment, but the time restrictions were too great. We would no sooner get there than we'd have to turn around and return to Buffalo. Didn't you have a lot of problems before you're married and driving all over the place just thinking of things to do?
Yeah.
Just thinking
Well,
of
she
things.
was living in Buffalo or Niagara Falls.
You had to think of things every day to do.
Yeah.
And that was difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was getting monotonous after a while.
Very monotonous, yeah. We drove out to Williamsville. Was Williamsville a nice place?
It was a farm town, yeah.
We drove out to Williamsville. As we approached the Colonial Inn, I suggested we go in for a while because it would be the last time we'd go in before our wedding. She liked the idea and said we did not have to stay long, just enough to talk a bit and catch up on the happenings of the past week. The place was almost empty except for a few people at the bar and a lone couple and one table at the rear of the room. The small band was playing, but was not the same band that was performing the last time we were here. Delphine ordered a glass of Merlot wine, and I had the usual scotch and water, which I detested and found horrible, but felt compelled to order for want of something more accommodating. The mere fact of just going through the ritual of ordering brought forth in me a sense of inane meaningless. There was no point to us being there, and in reality, we wanted to be somewhere else. We danced several times, but neither of us were thrilled or excited at being here. Our hearts and minds were truly somewhere else. It was obvious our thoughts were elsewhere, and we were preoccupied with the forthcoming wedding and everything that followed it. Okay. We left shortly after 10 p.m. and drove back to Buffalo, neither of us saying much and deep in our own individual thoughts. When we arrived at Delphine's house before 11 p.m., the earliest we had been for the longest time, I turned off the engine, slumped down in my seat, and closed my eyes. I felt exhausted and could not understand why I felt that way. Delphine sensed that it was also something we had not experienced before. It was as we wanted to continue as we were, but at the same time we felt compelled to evolve in a new segment of our lives, which is very understandable. We had enough of dinner meetings and movie outings. We wanted to get into the real life issues, our individual being and substance. For me, it would not be a gigantic leap. For most of my new life would be pretty much my old life, the same living quarters and surroundings, and mostly the same people and all that entailed. There was also my job, which would not change, and I would only get more difficult to endure. One thing, and only glaring difference, would be that Delphine and she made it all worthwhile. It would make everything else acceptable as tolerable. Without her, it would be nothing but the same old way. There would be none of the joy and anticipation we felt now, nor would there be any of the love we felt for one another that would sustain and nourish us. So basically what you're saying here, you're ready to settle down and you're sick and tired of picking up Delphine and just finding spots to go.
Yeah.
What kind of spots did you go to?
Well, we went to restaurants, we went to movies, we went to movies.
Did Delphine like movies?
Well, a certain kind of movie, yeah.
And where else did you go? You go picnics at Letchworth State Park?
Yeah, and summertime we went to picnic lunch, she made a nice lunch.
And then, did you ever spend much time inside of her house?
No, I picked her up. I hope they were at home when I picked her up.
You hope that her parents were home?
Oh, yeah.
Why, you didn't get along with them?
No, we go out with them? No, we never went out with them. No.
Did you go out with her brother or sisters?
No. Her sister worked in Washington.
Uh-huh. I understand. And, so what was Delphine working full-time when you met her?
Well, Delphine worked at Grants, yeah.
Full-time?
Full-time, yeah.
And what did Delphine do there?
She's a clerk.
And the registers were really old-fashioned back then.
Oh, yeah.
And how many years did Delphine work at WT Grants?
I think she got out of high school.
So she was there for about 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
So she
Her
must
and Agnes and Rosalie.
Agnes and Rosalie were her friends.
Yeah.
That she met from WT Grants.
Yeah.
Did Agnes and Rosalie drive cars?
Agnes did. Rosalie, I taught, well, when I was going with Delphine, I taught Delphine how to drive.
And how'd she make out? Pretty good?
Good, yeah. After I rust gears for a while, yeah.
Did she pass the road test right away?
First time, yeah.
And did you teach her on an automatic or a manual?
On a manual.
Wow, that's hard to do. They say today jokingly the best protection you could have from a car thief today is own a manual transmission because no one knows how to drive it.
They don't know how to drive it, yeah.
In fact, if you go to some very expensive 5-star hotels and a valet comes out, they don't know how to drive a manual.
Yeah.
They have to get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Or ask the owner of the car to do it. It's funny. But most of your vehicles back when you were young were all standard shifts.
Standard shift, yeah.
There's some of them were on the
Either on a steering wheel or on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor, the steering wheel, which they nickname 3 on the tree. And did most of the cars have air conditioning?
No.
0. There was no air conditioning then at all. There was no, in fact, minutes please?
19 seconds.
So you had,
Well, you get the heat for the car.
yeah,
Yeah, that was about all. That Volkswagen had to go 90 miles an hour to get the heat.
you're kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
5 seconds.
90 miles an hour to get the heat.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
that's the Volkswagen.